Well, I always thought the ultimate test is if an autonomous school bus pulls up, would you put your kid in that car and have it, there's no human driver in there, and drive it to the school? And just take this one step further. You're about to put your kid into the car, and two of the bullies that have been, bothering your kid for the last year are sitting in there, and now you put them in there. You don't have that school bus driver to say, "Hey, behave, kids." So there's these are the little things that like you said, you have to think about. You have comfort in that pilot being in the plane, even though it probably doesn't do anything. You hope he stays awake, right, as he's flying. But I think it's more than just autonomous driving. And I think a great example is how AI has made its way into engineering. So there's things like generative design, digital twins. Digital twins allow you to do all sorts of testing virtually. AI is actually, certainly in Formula One, is used to a great extent to look at aerodynamic analysis. Aerodynamic analysis can be very complex. The tiniest little winglet, as we've seen in some of the designs in Formula One, can make a really big difference. There's thousands and thousands of things you could change, and AI can help zero in on some of those things. Generative design can generate thousands and thousands of iterations, and maybe 900 out of 1,000 are probably aren't any good. But if it just inspires a designer somewhere, I think it can speed your way to a good design. I don't know how creative it can be. Like I know I do some things with Gemini and ChatGPT to generate me an image of a Formula One car with this or that. And I'll tell you what, sometimes I get the craziest stuff. Doesn't look anything like a Formula One car or whatever. And so I guess I suppose they're not AI is not quite yet to do the creative aspects of vehicle design, but certainly can make design more efficient.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think at this point it is a tool rather than something that is its own entity, really, which I think is a good thing because then it's not directly replacing these designers, not directly replacing this and that and the other. It's something that can be utilized. A lot of people are scared of AI, and I get it. It's changed, it's different. People are always scared about these kinds of things, but it is. If you use it in the right way, it could be very handy. It could be something that really, really saves you time. Like you mentioned about drafting emails and stuff like that. I've not really used it so much myself, but the things that you've told me about Gemini and some of my friends have told me about Gemini as well, it cuts hours, not minutes, hours out of their workday where they can do other things where they would have just been sat typing emails otherwise. It does it all for them. They just need to read it and send it. And it's usually spot on.
Well, even getting ready for a podcast like this. Hey, tell me great things to talk about AI and cars, and it'll give you like 20 pages worth of stuff, and you have to be really careful too because 20 pages worth, and then you find something that's really interesting, and it turns out that this really interesting thing is not actually correct, and that's why it's so interesting because it look wow, that's really standing. But again it reduces that preparation time. It reduces the time to come up with a nice sounding email. And the same would be true for design, but it also helps in like preventative maintenance, which could be for the car that you own. It could be, can look at patterns of noises or the way the car's behaving, whatever it might be. Maybe comparing the angle of the steering wheel to how much it turns might be indicators of tire wear or a loose bearing or something like that. And the same would apply to equipment that's in factories, and AI is being used to do those types of things so that it'll improve the quality of what comes out.